Good morning. Thanks for taking time to join our session today. I hope you had a great conference till now. This is Kavita and I'm Preeti and we are process coaches at Persistent. What we'll run you through today is Alice in DevOps Land. This is what we plan to cover as a part of our session. First is we'll look at what is a persistent point of view on DevOps. Okay, we'll cover a case study of our organization and some of the organizational activities that we've done to to bring in more DevOps implementations. And we'll take questions at the end, right? So this is the overall DevOps framework. Our DevOps framework is based on the Gene Kim and the Jez Humble way, right? So we talk of three ways. The first way is a flow. Flow is all about how you can have features go in from the developers to the end users. So left to right is what we talk about flow, okay? The second way is a feedback. How quickly can the feedback go back from the end users to the developers so that the product can get better, okay? That is right to left. And the third is all about continual learning and experimentation. How do you ensure that you have continual learning as a part of your overall journey, overall program, and how do you experiment? Okay, so that is very important because you experiment, learn fast, fail fast, and fix faster. So that's what experimentation is about. So what you see over here, this is the first way that I was talking about. This is the principles of flow. Okay, lots of principles. I'll just focus on one of them. Okay. So what you see over here are the principles, and what you see on the right are the technical practices of those principles. Okay. So if you see, one of the principles is limit work in progress, and the way we go about the technical practice that we talk about is small batch development. Why? The point is that if you take a big batch and you want to work on the whole thing and then send it out to the end user, by the time the batch goes in, first of all, you may have lost a lot of time. Okay. Secondly, the end user may not really like what you have given. So put out small batches, put it out to the end users, take your end user feedback and correct. Okay. So that is the small batch development. The second that we talk about, this is the second way. These are the principles that you see on the left, and what you see over here, these are technical practices. Again, I'll just look at one principle, which is see problems as they occur, and the technical practice is push quality closer to the source, and the technical practice is build fast and reliable automated validation test suite. Why reliable? We don't want developers to be spending effort on false positives, right? People spend effort on false positives, you have lost the time. So your test case has to be fast and it has to be reliable, very, very important, right? Moving on to the third way, these are the principles that you see over here, okay, here, and these are the technical practices, okay. Again, I'll just look at one of them. As a part of daily work, inject errors so that we learn from them and come up with resilience patterns. So what is resilience patterns? Resilience patterns is you actually inject errors, okay, see how the system functions and then fix it. So it's a fix forward. So if you're aware of Netflix, right, Chaos Monkey is a typical example of resilience patterns. So what did Netflix do? They actually got AWS down, okay, and they did a fix forward. So what happened is when the entire US East region went down, Netflix was the only company which actually didn't have a problem, right? So that is your build resilience patterns. The other important aspect that we also say is as a part of the entire journey, you look at security. Okay, security is important through the entire journey. So when you start with your initiation, the first step is your security setup. Okay, find out what are the security requirements and get a setup for that. Okay, as a part of your requirement gathering, okay, identify security related requirements. Okay, work on those as a part of your flow, okay, security is to be integrated into your demos. What does that mean? We need to have security people being a part of your demos to find out if there are any security considerations which need to be taken care of. As a part of feedback, you have the security testing as well as a part of testing. Okay? As a part of continual learning and experimentation, have security, which is, so you have security related defects which goes into your defect backlog and which is used for retrospections. So that is how you take care of security in all these, right? Okay. The very important thing, okay, is mindset. Now typically what happens is mindset is something which is really, really difficult to change, right? We can do a lot of things, but mindset is something that is difficult. We all know that, right? So what is the mindset change which is required? You need a, sorry. So you need a high trust, just learning culture and blameless retrospections. So what is high trust? We trust each other as a team, right? Just and a learning culture. What does just mean? When some mistakes happen, okay, the leadership reaction to that is seen as just and not as unjust. Okay? Learning culture is that you ensure that throughout your entire program journey, you do continual learning. Okay? Blameless retrospections. Systems are complex, right? And they are going to fail. So rather than pointing fingers at people, find out what went wrong in the process and fix the process. So it's all about blameless retrospections. Okay. Now the way we go about in our organization is we start with, so we gauge the maturity of the DevOps practices using this maturity assessment. So this is a DevOps maturity assessment that we use in our organization to find out the current status of the DevOps journey. So we look at continual integration, continual testing, continual learning, and continual deployment. So these are the 4 aspects that we look at in terms of identifying how the process is. Okay? So once we understand, we do a value stream mapping activity. So value stream mapping activity is find out what is the current as is process. Once we know the current as is process, where do we want to go from here? Right? Identify the goal. From this point, where do I want to go? Okay? Based on that, we come up with, now this that you see over here, this tool also gives recommendations. We use those recommendations to identify what we want to do. Okay? And on an ongoing basis, we give a, sorry. There. On an ongoing basis, we have an implementation checklist which is given as a reference, as a guideline to the projects to how to implement. Okay. Now what you see over here, these are the charts which have come out as an outcome of this maturity assessment. I'll now hand it over to Kavita, who will run us through Team Alice.
Thank you, Preeti. All right. Good morning, everyone. Good. Okay. So before I start, why Alice in DevOps land? Alice in Wonderland? Yes? What happened to Alice in Wonderland? She was lost. She was lost, right? Okay. So that is the entire context. So what Preeti and I, we work as process coaches with our organization. So there was this particular team. We call it Team Alice. Okay, let's run through the case study for Team Alice. What was their DevOps journey or DevOps transformation? So how many of you here were there for yesterday race session? Business agility? Oh, very few. Okay. So he showed a transformation picture, right? How transformations, we think transformation should be like a lion and the share wala transformation versus the actual transformation. Transformations are journeys. They take time, and that is what is Team Alice, right? What was the problem statement? Now, when I'm talking about Team Alice, there is a blockchain practice in our organization. They work on POCs, okay, and demoing those POCs to different customers. We actually get projects from these customers. So what Team Alice wanted to do was, let's use DevOps to help build the pipeline so that our POCs get converted faster into projects. That's why we all want to do DevOps, right? What was stopping them? We all know DevOps. What is stopping us? DevOps was a maze for them. Too many things, too much to do in little time, right? So what do we do? How did we approach it? So we took a 3-step approach here. One is the entire Team Alice, we gave them half a day training on an overview of DevOps. Because when, initially even when I heard the word DevOps, CI/CD kar liya, DevOps. It's not that, right? We saw what Preeti has run us through. Flow, feedback, continual integration, and the mindset change. All of this is DevOps. It is not only CI/CD. So yes, we had to train the entire team so that everybody is on the same page. Then we did a DevOps maturity assessment with Team Alice, the assessment that Preeti showed you, and we did a value stream mapping exercise to understand where they are currently. And as next steps, we got everybody on the same page. How might we use DevOps to convert POCs faster into projects? This is a common problem statement for the entire team. So all of us are now aligned to this common problem statement. The team defined an initial set of milestones. Now we would ask the obvious question, right? Why milestones in a DevOps journey, right? Now think about this team. You are already busy in your BAU activities. You are doing day in, day out, you are churning out POCs. DevOps is an additional continual improvement activity that you are taking up. So let us identify what are the milestones which we want to achieve in our DevOps journey. Okay. Persistent as an organization, we are a services organization where we have multiple projects and programs running with multiple customers, right? So all our projects and programs are at different stages of DevOps maturity. So we have projects which are at a very high level of DevOps maturity. So what we did is we liaised with our internal DevOps experts for Team Alice so that take their learnings, right? Why do you again want to start from 0? If somebody is already at 5, let us take learnings from them. Most of you are aware, right? Agile Scrum talks a lot about processes. DevOps also heavily on processes, but equally heavy on tools as well, right? A lot of tools involvement. So at Persistent, we have an organization level tools group which guides different projects on which are the current tools, which are the good tools, and gives them a kickstart on using tools. So we also got one of the tools group person involved with Team Alice right from day one. So this is the initial set that we have done. This is the outcome of the maturity assessment checklist that Preeti was talking about. So if you look here, it talks about the DevOps practices of integration, testing, deployment, and learning. The current level which the team is at, what is the recommended level for you? And the tool also throws out some recommendations that, if I want to move from level 1 to level 2, what is the recommendation for you, right? For example, if I am currently at level 1 for continual testing, maybe unit tests should, at least the unit test cases need to be automated for you to move one step ahead in the DevOps journey. So this is what we did. Okay, these are the milestones. I will go through each of them in detail. Let's look at milestone 1. Milestone 1 for Team Alice was, let us only identify the pipeline and do an automated build after every check-in. As developers, as engineers, is this really a milestone? Kitna aasan hai ye? Why are we calling this as a milestone? Challenges. Frequent or daily code check-ins. Where are the check-ins? Everything is in local. People are working on POCs, right? Everything, I see a smile here. So yes, I mean that was a typical challenge, right? Which is why we said, yes, that is milestone 1 for us. Tool identification. We do not know we know that, build has to be automated, but which is the tool? If Jenkins is the tool, where is the Jenkins knowledge in the blockchain team? Nobody is aware of Jenkins knowledge. So what we did was, we applied, so this is my Alice now moving through the Wonderland, let's take her ahead, right? The principles that Preeti talked about, some of the additional principles, make work visible, continually identify and elevate the constraints, and enable organizational learning. How did we apply this? The organizational tools group involvement, that's what I said. An explicit policy of daily check-in was introduced. The team was told that this is an explicit policy, we all have to agree to it. And a Kanban board was set up for the DevOps activities, for the DevOps backlog was created, and a Kanban board was set up. This was milestone 1 for the team. Believe me or not, it took them close to 2 months to just reach here, okay, just to do daily check-ins and build. Okay. Milestone 2, okay. Milestone 2, what happened? The team was really boggled down, okay. They started getting more and more POCs and a lot of pressure from pre-sales team, churn out this POC and other things. Okay, where is the time for DevOps activities now? What we did, okay, let's limit the work in progress, apply few more DevOps principles, let's limit WIP. How can I push quality closer to the source? So this team has a team of 7 to 9 engineers, out of which 3 of them were identified that you will also work on DevOps. So what we did was, we introduced WIP, we all know WIP, we explicitly introduced a WIP limit of 3, a policy of 80% code coverage, and further MS Teams, we leveraged MS Teams as a collaboration platform for the team so that they can learn from other experts in the organization. So at this point in time, this is what you see is a snapshot of the simple Kanban board which only has the DevOps backlog and a few conversations on MS Teams which the team started getting inputs from the other experts in the organizations. So this is where we are at milestone 2. Now an interesting thing happens here. Milestone 3. What happened here was we are almost now 3.5 months into the journey. Think about the mindset change that Preeti talked about, right? At milestone 3, a very interesting phenomena that Preeti and I noticed was that milestone 3, it actually came from the team. Hey, let's do this now. Okay, they started getting into the mindset that yes, we need to get into these things, and as coaches, we actually now started taking a back seat here. The challenges were security was not thought about as integrated into the pipeline. Whenever they would go and show the POCs, there were some security related aspects that would, questions that would come in, and then they would think, oh, let us think about this. The build time was also long. Okay, the team realized that yes, we are having an automated build, but it is taking 25 minutes. So, I mean, it's still taking long time, right? What do we do? So see problems as they occur, optimize the work for the downstream, and let us eliminate the waste in the value stream. So long build time is a waste in the value stream. What did they do? So we used WhiteSource as a security tool. So WhiteSource is a security tool that checks the security vulnerabilities in open source libraries. The team also looked at parallelly executing the unrelated test cases in the build, and can we cache dependencies between the builds. So all these, specifically the, I would like to call out the parallel execution of unrelated test cases. That was something when the team had a discussion with the other DevOps experts in the team. They looked at their build code and they said, oh, this is what you can do. And this is how the team was able to bring down their build time. We also published the artifacts to the repository manager as part of milestone 3. And this is again a snapshot of WhiteSource. Okay, what's next for the team? So this is where, so probably only this continual integration and the continual testing we have achieved so far. What about the continual deployment? Okay, that is what the team is currently working on, containerized deployment automation. They continue doing the ongoing improvements to pipelines. So they now have further milestones defined. The team is also looking at pipeline code reusability using Jenkins. Okay, like I said, right, this is a team working on POCs. When they actually started getting projects, the pipeline has to be, or the framework of the pipeline has to be ready so that I can onboard new projects and they are already onboarded onto the DevOps framework. So they started using, the global library from Jenkins, if you're aware of, they started using that, and that's how they made the pipeline reusable. So that is what Team Alice's journey is next. So it is a journey, it is a transformation. This is one of the team that is Team Alice. You might, and you will have to take different focus areas for different teams, what they want to focus on in DevOps. This is the outcome, almost after 6 months, we redid a DevOps maturity assessment for the team, and this is what you can see, right? Continual integration, they moved to level 3. Continual testing, they moved to level 3. And learning, which is more of a mindset part, also they have moved to level 3. Whereas, if you look at the continual deployment, they still continue to be at level 2 because that is something that is the next step for them. But this gives a very guided approach for any team to actually pass through the DevOps journey. The benefits and learning for us, some of the metrics, I'll not go through it, but yeah, you can see that, the build time has reduced. Our learnings as coaches, visualizing the workflow even for a DevOps implementation using simple post-its, feedback and learning from failures, and every step was an incremental change or an incremental improvement for us. Okay, the leadership involvement was very important here. So this particular program or project had the blessing of the leadership, the blockchain lead, that yes, this is what we want to do for our unit. So that is again very important because, you know, apart from BAU activities, this team is working on this. So the lean mindset of the leadership is important. Yeah. So that is what Team Alice was about. Now what I would request Preeti to cover is at an organization level, what are the other activities we are doing so as to sustain this learning culture around DevOps at Persistent. Okay, thank you.
So, so as a very first step, right, what do we need to do is we need to give people a overview of what is DevOps, right? We understood, right? It's not CI/CD, it is CI, it is CT, it is CD, it is CL. All these aspects need to be looked at. So first is we gave into our quality management system, we got those processes in as a very first step. Next, the other important aspect is you always need to have leadership support, right? Your leadership has to be completely invested into helping you in your DevOps journey. So what we did on a quarterly basis, we used to provide what is the update. And what we have also noticed is in the first quarter, right, we had hardly anything on the slides. But quarter to quarter, there were a lot of updates which came in. The other thing what we are also trying now is we are using the OKRs, which is the objectives and the key results. So these are the objectives. So we have Agile COP, which is Agile Community of Practice within our organization. And as Agile COP, DevOps is one of the tracks. So what is the objective of this track? Okay, what do we want to do? What are going to be the key results? And what are going to be the high level tasks till the 1st April 2020. So based on this, we come up with every quarter we find out where we are and where we want to go. So that is the OKR approach. The other important, interesting thing that we've tried is a Lean Chai. Lean Chai is more about, if you're aware of Lean Coffee is where people of, like-minded people come together and discuss topics. Now we started that in our organization, but we figured that people really don't come in and start talking, right? So what we did is we came up with topics, okay, which somebody would present as a part of the Lean Chai. So again, the important thing, some of the things that we learned, one is, when you talk of mindset, when anybody says DevOps, people think it's scripting. It is not just scripting, it is a lot of other things. The other important is cadence, okay. Initially when we started the Lean Chai, we didn't really have a lot of people coming in for the Lean Chai. But we have kept it as a third Thursday every month from 3:45 to 4:15. So over a period of time, we have a DevOps Yammer group, which is a community of people who kind of believe in DevOps, right? So as over every month, once we continued the cadence, we found people coming more and more. The other thing, the best practices which got shared are release manager role. So people get bored, performing the release manager role. So have a rotation based release manager role. The other important thing is sharing the bigger vision. So typically what happens is, you give the task to the developer saying do this, do that, okay, but what is it that you want to achieve as a part of the product? That vision is generally not shared. So sharing the bigger vision is something which is really important. The other interesting thing that we've tried is a book club meet. So a book club meet is where, suppose we pick up one measure what matters to read, okay. We seek out people, asking them to join this for reading this particular book, okay. People volunteer and say, okay, we'll come and read the book. Now suppose we have Kavita, Preeti and say Ashish, right? 3 people who volunteered to read the book, okay. There are 21 chapters as a part of Measure What Matters. So first day I will read the chapter first, okay, create this kind of a mind map, okay. The next day there will be a 30-minute meeting where we all will come together and I will explain what is there in that chapter as a part of that 30-minute meeting, okay. The second day Kavita will read chapter 2 and she will create such a mind map and she will explain as a part of the 30-minute meeting that we have the next day. So each in a round robin fashion, each person will cover one chapter. However, what happens with that is, even if it's a 21 chapters, each person has to read just 7 chapters, but we get the knowledge of an entire 21 chapters. So that is how it helps us. So these are some of the books that we've read as a part, some and a lot more that we've read as a part of this book club meet. The other thing is, in our organization, what we have tried, business agility, right? We talk about business agility means everybody has to be agile, not just the development teams. So what we as, our process group, we are trying to use Scrum methodology, okay? As a part of Scrum methodology, we have user stories which are added into the quality of the, into the backlog of the quality people. So we have quality people aligned to each and every BU. As a part of their backlog, we say DevOps for project A is added as a user story, and that is tracked as a part of all the Scrum meetings. Okay, the progress is tracked as a part of the Scrum meetings. The other thing is, when we started with, when we started on this DevOps journey for ourselves also, we realized there were a lot of tools online nuggets, knowledge nuggets that were available as a part of the organization, which had been created by somebody else. But that was created, say, 3 years back. Now, the market changes, the tools keep getting updated, and those updates have to get into those online knowledge nuggets. So the other thing that we tried is, we reached out to people, asking people to help us to update these online knowledge nuggets. The other thing is the overview session. So we have an agile overview session for our freshers to understand what is agile, okay? But what we also want is, freshers should also understand DevOps is not CI/CD, okay? It is all those 4 aspects, which is why we have a quick overview of what is DevOps for our freshers. Now at Persistent, we have been celebrating Agile Day. This is to kind of, celebrate Agile within our organization. Agile Day 2018 and 2019 had focused case studies on DevOps, and this that you see over here is a picture of one of our, person who has presented the DevOps case study of his project. Last is, what we also do is, as I said, see, processes keep getting better, right? Business agility has come, SAFe keeps getting better, so the processes keep getting better, and we have to keep ensuring that those updates from the process get into our documents, right? So we do a periodic update of our documents, so that the latest and the best of what is there in the process is available for the people. And last but not the least is, right now we have an Agile COP. Similarly, we have started a DevOps COP, where we have invited people to come in and help us in the DevOps journey in our organization. Okay, now this is the DevOps recommended tool stack that we have. For IBM, we talk about, say for infrastructure management, we talk about Bluemix containerization services. For MS tool stack, we talk about Azure PowerShell, and for an open source, we talk about Chef. Now, one thing important is that, as you are all aware, right, depending on the technology and what is really there in your project, this tool stack will change, right? But this is what we have tried to give as a recommended tool stack to our teams. So we have some time for questions.
DevOps like a person. I need a DevOps person. I need a DevOps, resource in my team. So it's not a DevOps. It's not a person. It's like a process. About tools. Right? Not only CI/CD, but people recommend it as a resource.
Yes. Yeah. So that's something which we have learned even for us. In fact, that when we started versus where we are now, we learned a lot of things along the way.
Yes, from a very interesting point of view, it is that way. There's a job description and all those. It's a JD like it's a DevOps, but yeah, it's just not a person. True. Yeah?
On the same line, so can a Scrum team member be also like, should we allocate him for some portion of time for a DevOps part?
Yes, yes, definitely.
Or it should be done by a central team wherein they are just monitoring us as a Scrum team?
Not really a central team is what we would recommend. The central team could be there initially to guide you, but then you have to build the capability within your team, right? As we say, a cross-functional team in Scrum, right? The cross-functional should now include DevOps also, right? Preeti,
Yes,
you want
yes.
to add?
That's what even I feel. It's see, as a team, it is always better if you are involved in this activity yourself. So you feel involved.
So we should create stories for DevOps along with our regular stories?
Yes, in fact, that's what we do.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. You had a question?
Sorry, she had and he had, yeah. Sorry, we'll come back to you.
Hi, thanks both of you. It was really a good presentation. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
I got an opportunity to implement DevOps in my last organization, and we had these training sessions. And so one of the challenge was with the legacy code. So team was really reluctant to move their legacy code, which don't have any test frames or automation. But with the new code, they were kind of more comfortable. But it took me really a hard time to convince them. Can you share some tips how to motivate teams to move their legacy code into DevOps cycle?
Yes.
See, one is that, there's something called as a strangler pattern, where we say rather than, throwing out the entire old code, as small things, we will kill small services and then bring in microservices. So we've had a similar challenge in our organization as well, where in fact there was one project which was completely on legacy code, and as the overall legacy application.
Yeah, and this project what she's talking about, the Agile Day that you saw, right? This was again one of the case study that this project has presented to the organization, that how they converted this legacy code. It was a secure mail kind of a service which they converted from legacy using microservices, and now how quickly they are. So two of their customers were not ready to move to the newer version for the last 8 years because of the deployment time, right? I mean the downtime and other things. And now when they've moved to microservices, it's a matter of minutes that they are able to do it. So these kind of case studies also help when you want to share certain examples and encourage the legacy code teams. But yes, it is tough for legacy teams to directly move to DevOps. They should start thinking more from microservices part and then move on.
Thank you. It was really insightful what you talked about, and
Thank you.
One particular thing which I'd like to ask, and one problem which you were even discussing, that getting the team convinced and getting the team culture changed into a way that they are getting, for example, a practice of daily check-ins. And most of these strategies, one of the problems is that most of these strategies are being decided by senior leadership, and
Yes.
how exactly the stack is going to be working, and how exactly my pipelines are going to be working, or architects or really senior folks are doing it. Getting into the initial transformation stages, so I'd like to understand from you that what were the challenges which you faced from the team side in adoption of that? Everybody wants to work onto the newer technology stack. Everybody is really interested in upscaling themselves and
Yes.
moving that journey.
Yes.
And if they're not getting the opportunity, it's very easy to get demotivation over there.
Correct,
Yes.
correct.
So if you can help me with
So,
that.
what we have done is we have actually, we conduct retros for the teams, okay, where we go and ask them what is it that they want. And as a part of the retro, we identify action items. So we take those action items, go back to the management and say, these are the problems that your team is facing. And these are the some things that we can do as a team so that we all stay invested. In fact, we have one of our ECM products, which is like really legacy code, and people are like really bored over there. So that is something that as agile coaches, we do that.
Yeah, and another point to add is like the leadership part, right? You said these policies are decided. Specifically for Team Alice, that was a blessing that we had, that this was something that came from the leadership, that yes, this is where we want to move towards. And secondly, this mindset change does take time. Like I said, it was almost at milestone 3, where now the team started giving us ki abhi aisa karte hain, aisa karte. They started realizing the benefits. And in yesterday's the advertisement session, one of I think Kaval's session, if some of you were there, one of the part that he said, right, match the unmatched. So if people are saying, yaar, we are board of legacy code. We as agile coaches say, no, but you have to apply the agile principles. No, empathize with them. Agree that yes, these are the problems you're facing, and then you have the leadership buy-in, as Preeti said, the retros. So all these things together, but it takes time. We also have to be patient. That's what, we realize. This is where team is after 6 months, okay? We still have a long journey to go.
In fact, the retros part is also something which, we did it, and it has been 1 year, and there are some things which actually got implemented only because the customer said, ye karo. So that is a challenge. That is a challenge.
Yeah, I think we are on top of time. We just got a time up signal. So yeah, we are here for the rest of the day. So definitely would like to get in touch.
Yeah, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.